Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm helping you level up your communication skills. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about, is nuance dead? A couple of decades back, there was this famous philosopher who was quoted saying, God is dead and we have killed him. And more specifically, what he was trying to imply with this was that society was going to lose its moral fabric and individuals would now have to create their own identity. This would come with the good and this would come with the bad. Now, in our generation, I have a remix to this quote. Is nuance dead? I was going through YouTube recently and I saw this one thumbnail that wrote, nuance is the new N-word. And when I first saw that, I was like, all right, buddy, you're clearly getting carried away. But that's when I thought about it. In many circles, nuance is seen as something that you need to stay away from. A lot of people who are like, nuance, come on, man, choose a side. It's because nowadays, tribalism is growing in popularity. Individuals want to choose a tribe, and if you're in the middle ground territory in certain issues, then you're seen as not having courage. I saw this live one time. There was this one kid who was like, I'm an agnostic. And a few of the people that he was talking to, one person was an atheist, and the atheist was like to the agnostic, come on, man, have some balls. Agnostic people are simply atheists without balls. And what this atheist was trying to get the agnostic to do was to join his side. But if you break it down, an agnostic person and an atheistic person are fundamentally different. One person says that there is no higher power. The other person says, I don't know. Yet he is potentially being shamed to choose a certain side. I think this is a very unfortunate thing because with certain topics, the more that you know in regards to the topic, the more that you have a responsibility to share the nuances of it in a way that others can understand. Clearly, you don't want to be reciting off phrases and words and formulas that other people can't even decipher, but you want to make people know that this topic isn't as simple as it seems. And when black and white sentiments are being carried away with, what typically happens is that a lot of poor advice is given. I mean, every now and then I'm checking through Twitter and I keep seeing this awful advice just being reposted by different accounts. These different accounts are collecting their likes, their retweets, they're getting stacked comments. And you know what that advice is? No is a statement in itself. That is idiotic. Now, at first, this actually seems like something good. It's like, yeah, no is a statement in itself, and it's something that I should have a very black and white approach with. But that's not always smart, because you having the ability to say no is what I call a good problem. Let me explain what I mean by that. So I run a blog called ArmaniTalks.com, and within that website there's a blog that discusses a variety of topics on soft skills. Every now and then I get approached by different people who want to write a guest blog because they believe my website's audience is congruent to their product. And so they'll start pitching me. They'll be like, hey, I'll give you $500 if you let me write a guest blog on your website. And I politely say no. The reason why is because it's called ArmaniTalks, not Sun System Talks or whatever companies these individuals represent. Later on, I'll get more people asking if they could write a guest blog on my website. And once again, I say no. And eventually gets to a point where I'm like, okay, I can't keep responding back to everyone because each of these individuals require a somewhat different response. So I'm just going to ignore them. And yes, I believe ignoring someone is better than just saying no. Okay, and I may explain that why later. So I'm over here one day telling one of my buddies that, I have this problem of people coming and wanting to do a guest blog. And I just have to keep saying no. And this buddy is looking at me in awe. He's like, what? Wait a minute. So people are actually coming to your website asking if they could write their own piece and they're going to pay you for it? Dude, if I were you, I would be saying yes. So here I am having this issue that I'm saying like, no, no, no. And there's someone else whose eyes are lighting up. And it's like, man, I really wish I even had the opportunity to say no to something like this. We could even remix this situation. Let's say you're a very popular guy and on Friday, you have 5 parties to go to and you're somewhat annoyed because for the past couple of Fridays, you're just getting invited to parties left and right and you just have to keep telling people no, 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 right? In your own polite way. And then one day, you're talking to your very lonely friend and you're like, well, can you believe it? I have to say no so much times to all these different parties. It's getting really annoying. And your lonely friend is like, you have that luxury? This lonely friend desperately wants to say yes. So whenever someone is inviting you to something, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sure, it could be seen as a bad thing. It's like, now I have to say no. But this is what I call a good problem to have. You have a lot of parties to attend to. You have a lot of people wanting to come to your website and write a guest blog. So when you are getting absorbed with this idea like, no is a statement in itself, that's when you're getting very attached to the idea that having to say no is something that you should be annoyed by. And the next time that you're getting an invitation, chances are the tone is going to be off. Your cousin's like, hey, I'm going to be moving out of town. You want to come to my birthday dinner? You're like, no. Because no is a statement in itself. Is this smart? Not at all. That's what typically happens when nuanced advices are being stripped away and it's being packaged in a way for a black and white audience to understand. Now, this whole scenario of me breaking down why no is a statement in itself, why this isn't smart, and me giving you the examples of the blogs and the party situation, this cannot be packaged in a very easy way in a tweet format for it to blow up like that. But it doesn't necessarily strip away the sensibility aspect of it. So with traditional media, this sort of black and white marketing was needed because you're doing mass distribution from one to many. It was mainly broadcast. But with new media, to answer the initial question, is Nuance dead? I would say for now, it's seeming like that. But I believe it was Benjamin Graham who was like, in the short term, the stocks are what? A popularity contest. But in the long term, it's a weighing machine. And I believe in the long term, with strategic use of new media, nuance is not going to be dead. Nuance is actually going to be brought to life. And there's going to be different creators that are always being given that carrot. Like it's like that carrot that you give to a donkey, and it's like, you don't want nuance, you want just black and white thinking, don't you? And the donkey is like, yeah, I guess I do. And the short-term ones will choose a black and white, but the smart ones who are well aware on the topic are like, the carrot doesn't really seem appealing. Now, with all that being said, I do see that black and white, I don't think that's a bad way of framing certain decisions or information at all. Certain issues, I believe black and white understanding helps, especially the more individuals that you're getting involved in. The bigger the society scales, the better that black and white helps. And the more that you're individually talking to someone, the better that nuance helps. And new media typically is being consumed on an individual level, not on a mass level. So that's my couple of thoughts in regards to, is nuance dead? I believe right now it seems like it, but in the long run, it's going to have a rebirth, and there's going to be a lot of great ideas approaching certain opinions from different angles that you never considered. So if you enjoyed today's episode, go on and drop that like for me below. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, stay subscribed for more talks on public speaking, creativity, storytelling, and much more. Thank you very much for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you next time.